Hello, everybody. My name is Lewis Lee, and this is Playing in Traffic. Like I say every week, we do this every Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. So please tell everybody that's in the cars, boats, trucks, or anything you put gas in that we talk about it here. We got my man Ray from Motor Mouth Radio. What's up, Ray?
Yeah, Lewis, here we are again.
Yeah,
Ready
man.
to,
These Thursdays come quick.
ready to talk cars, problems. Oh, I got a bunch of problems. I've run into a bunch of stuff this week.
Oh, yeah?
Oh yeah. It's like every time you try to do something, it just seems something else gets in your way,
Well,
and I've learned a long time ago that those are the obstacles that make guys stop working. You
yeah.
know, I mean, that's when the project stops, the door goes down. Next thing you know, there's pool toys on top of the car or the truck or the bike, whatever it is. There's lawn furniture, it's storage. And after by 2 years, you can't even see it anymore. And
Hmm.
but on the other hand, that's how guys like us pick up some pretty good projects that are 70, 85% finished, and like, yeah, I'll take that. I'll finish
Yeah.
that. But
I'm looking. I never could find any. When I got some money in my pocket, I can't find them.
no. And when they're your own, though, that's the thing. That's when you got to just bear down and say, hey, that's it. It's a setback. I literally had an issue yesterday that I ran up against trying to take a part out of my car, and I couldn't get it out. And it's actually, my co-host Chris, he may be listening because he monitors the show. So
Hmm.
I gotta give it to him because he says all the time, and he said it just on Sunday. We had Alana Sher from Hot Rod and Motor Trend on the show. I'm trying to get her on here, by the way.
Okay.
Um, but we were talking about stuff like that and working on older cars, and he said, I told you if you just would do it stock, you wouldn't have any troubles. And he is 110% right.
Yeah.
And but I always say, I got to I want to isolate that clip from Chassis John where he says stock stinks. I take all the
Does.
stock stuff, I throw it in the garbage. Because I'm a modified guy, and
Yeah.
the issue I ran into was I was trying to change my steering column. I bought an I did it tilt column,
Hmm.
and it's set up different than the factory column. The factory column in my car is a solid column, so it's not collapsible, which was, they changed that a couple of years later
Right.
for safety. But
Right.
at the bottom of that long shaft, there's a round flange that has two holes and two half moons, and they go over what's called the rag joint, which is a flexible mount that has a spline on the other end that mounts up right onto the steering box.
Hmm.
So, like on the Mustangs, that steering box is up higher. It's up by behind the shock tower. On a GMA body, it's all the way down low in the front of the chassis, at the front of the motor.
Hmm.
So you disconnect everything. You disconnect it from in the car too. And to pull that column out, it comes out in one piece. But that flange with the two holes and the two half moons, in my car, it was hitting the number one header tube, number one cylinder header tube, and
Hmm.
the bushing end from the upper control arm. So, the key here is both of those parts are aftermarket. Headers didn't come on the car, and I
Yep.
put Global West tubular control arms with these, nice bigger ends. Everything is beefy. So I'm like, I can't get it out. It won't go past those obstacles. So,
Torque.
so what do you do? I'm like, well, my first thought was I could cut the shaft. I could cut it, but then, I mean, I'm not going to reuse it because I'm putting a new column in.
But
But
somebody could. Yep.
I can't sell it now. If I wanted to sell it to somebody, just say, oh, just weld the shaft back together. So it's
Hmm.
kind of ironic because I kind of walked away from it yesterday, and I had to go meet some guys in Queens. I had to pick up a carburetor to rebuild, and the one guy, the carburetor's off a '79 Trans Am. One of the last things he said to me was, he goes, yeah, after we get this carburetor on and the car's running, I got to have the front end looked at. I got a clunky noise. I think it's my upper control arm bushings. I said, yeah, it's common. They go bad. I said, the good thing with the GMs is you can change those in the car. I mean, what I mean is you don't have to take the coil spring out because the spring is captured between the lower control arm and the spring pocket on the frame.
Hmm.
Once you pop the ball joint, you can take the upper control arm off, do the bushings, do the ball joints, and put it back in. So it was kind of funny because after I said that to him yesterday afternoon, I'm sitting there last night and I'm thinking about my car again. I'm like, all right, what am I going to do? One of the other guys was saying, "Oh, grind down the flange and this and that." And I said, "Wait a minute. What if I take the upper control arm off? What if I do that?" That's one of the things that's in the way. I'm not taking the header off. And today, in the 90 something degree heat, I was out there sweating my ass off. But of course, as I'm doing it, I had to separate the ball joint from the spindle, which all the stuff, I put this all in fairly recently, but I couldn't pop it out. And I said, yeah, okay, my ball joint, the pickle forks for the ball joints and for the my tie rod ends, I have those at the shop, along with my good impact gun that also has the pneumatic end on it. So, okay, stop everything, wash up, get in the car, drive down to the shop, take some whatever I need tools here, they're there. When I need them there, they're here. So that's why I started doubling up and buying, doubles on a lot of my tools. So I come home and of course, I pop the ball joint out. Now to get the control arm out, there's these bolts. They're 7/16 bolts with the serrated ends that grab into the frame. And then you loosen those nuts. That's where you put the shims for an alignment. One of them in my car had been cut many, many years ago, shortened. I don't even remember why. But of course, the long one was in the front. So you take the nuts off, take the shims out, and you slide the control arm forward over those bolts. Well, when I slid it forward, the control arm being bigger slammed right into the header. I was like, holy shit, here we are again. It's like clowns in a clown car. They just keep coming out at me. So I'm like, all right, well, now I got to get that stud out. I either got to, try and bang it out. You're in a close confines now. Well, fast forward, I got them both out, and then I was able to take the control arm off. So,
it's bad when you know
how
it's
to do all that.
oh yeah, it's bad when it's a quick job and stuff like that holds you up for 2 or 3 hours.
Right. Well, the only thing that I had going for me was I kept saying, on the reverse of this, to put it together, it's going to be a lot easier because now I'm working around that already. But I was just out there now, and I was texting one of my friends, another Pontiac guy, and I was telling him what was going on. And he made me think of something that I didn't think of. Years ago, he and I both converted our cars to Monte Carlo SS steering boxes because it's less than a 3-turn lock to lock, and it bolts right in. The thing is, it's a metric box, so the power steering lines were metric. And what you had to do was either use metric hoses with a metric pump, or we found a guy called Lee Manufacturing, and he sold us this kit. There were these 2 little bushings that you pound into the fluid ports, and it converts it from a metric to an American line. So you can use the American hoses, keep your original pump. And he sold us a rag joint that was a conversion rag joint for the project. And just now I tried sticking this new Borgson rag joint on, and I couldn't get it on the spline. And I'm like, if that's a different spline, I may be screwed. So I got to try it again tomorrow, and then it'll be another call. Hopefully Summit, where I got this stuff, they may maybe they'll have the correct joint, and we can just swap it out. But I'll find out tomorrow. I don't know.
Right.
So that's the deal. That's what happens. Like you turn a corner and bang, there's another wall.
Yep. So I'm gonna tell you my dilemma this week.
Okay, what do you got?
So I noticed I got a little oil leak on the driveway in the bus. So I look in there, I say, okay, I see where the oil's coming from. It's coming from the fuel rail plate. There's like a plate that goes across the side of the motor called the fuel rail. I don't know what to call it, but so I was like, okay, I changed the gasket. So I got to take the doghouse off and inside. A whole bunch of bolts. There's a whole bunch. I got to take the ECM off, move it out of the way to get to this plate. So we do that. We get it all taken apart, and I noticed that it's not coming from the gasket. It's coming from a pressure plug that's in that plate. So the pressure had pushed out the middle of that sensor, and it was leaking.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, easy fix. So I take the gasket back. The gasket was $59. The sensor was $240.
Sure.
So I get that, bring it home, put it in, put everything back together, start the bus. Now I got a miss. There's a cylinder missing. I can tell, it's just not pumping right, right? Like, oh man, what's going on? So I was like, well, we must have moved when we moved to ECM. We must have pulled a wire or something or did something.
Sure.
So at first, we checked all the connections. Everything was tight. Seemed like everything was tight. So I was like, man, I wonder if that new sensor is just bad out of the box.
You know what new means?
Yeah. So I called my buddy, and he comes over with his computer or a scanner. He puts the scanner on, and he says it's not the injector. He checked all the injectors. He checked everything. It's not getting signal, so it's got to be in the wire. It's got to be either.
Sensor.
Yeah. Well, no, not the sensor, because the sensor is just doing the pressure, and he checked the pressure and everything was good there. So
is it an electric sensor? Is it
yeah.
like a? Because I'm saying the sensor reads whatever it's supposed to read. In this case, pressure, but reports it electrically. So the sensor has to. Of course, if the wire is bad, that could be an issue too. But if the sensor isn't reporting,
right.
Then
well, when you put the scanner on, it shows that it's cylinder number 2, and it has to be from the ECM to the injector.
Oh, okay.
So my motor has a valve cover, and the injectors are under the valve cover. So I can't check the injectors unless I take the valve cover off. So we're trying to check the wire or check the inside of the plug going into the valve cover to check that, but I couldn't find the right schematic for my bus, for my motor.
Yeah.
So I go back out. My buddy has a wiring harness for the inside that hooks to the injectors. So now I can look at what wire goes to 2 and figure out which one's the test from the outside to mine.
Right.
So I'm gonna do that this weekend or maybe tomorrow.
It sounds like we're having similar occurrences here.
Yeah. So everything's running perfect. I moved some stuff around. Now it's not running perfect. So
with the cars, I know the injectors work on a 5-volt reference. They're fairly easy to check if you back probe them.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully the bus will be just as easy. I mean, you could even probe the wire where it's accessible. You got to pierce the plastic though.
Mm-hmm.
There's, I know for the power probe, because I bought a couple from Brian. Power probe uses these piercing probes where you put it over the wire and you turn it on, and it pierces a little needle into the wire, and then it'll read. Or you could either put power in or read out. Yeah,
that's what I need to get. But so tomorrow tomorrow we got to take it all apart again and check those injectors from the outside, make sure it's not them, because I really don't want to take the top of the motor off. So,
well, the good thing is tomorrow's supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
So other than that, everything's good. I was supposed to be in Michigan yesterday.
I'm
still here because I moved my mom tomorrow and Saturday.
Okay.
So I'll be 3 days late getting to Michigan, but
it's great not having to go to work though, right?
Yeah, I got time.
On that note, just my wife saw something on Facebook. Jeep and Al, who used to be a regular on this show, he moved.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's down in South Carolina.
Okay.
He actually, and believe it or not, which I still don't believe it, I'm going down there in like 2 weeks, so we're gonna get together for lunch. And I got to find out. He actually moved into this. It's I'm not gonna say retirement community, an over 55 community where my son-in-law's parents are in South Carolina, and it's huge. But I just, I know that when he went to PA, he wanted the house and he wanted more land, and he's buying. I tell people, Al's the kind of guy, if he needs a hill of dirt moved, he goes out and gets heavy equipment. He moves the dirt. He doesn't. He's a go-to guy. So he was saying it sucked. He had to sell some of his equipment. At least his son got some of it. But I just don't see him in a place like that. And I'm really, it's eating at me. Why? I don't know. I mean, he's okay. He's already exploring things and driving around, so I know he's. He said it was like kind of time to slow down. I hate hearing that. I really do. I mean, because we all slow down. You know, we know when we have to slow down because our body tells us when to slow down, but we don't tell other people we're slowing down. You know, it's like it's not the kind of thing you want to go and admit, but you know you got to do it. So yeah. So we'll see. I'll see Al in a couple of weeks and maybe get some.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you a question. Are the flies crazy in New York right now?
No, they aren't.
These flies out here, man, are driving us crazy. They're just going stupid.
Ohio flies. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had an interesting thing happen. It was last month. Yeah, when I was down in North Carolina, we had a mouse in the house, and I bought a camera to put in the kitchen, and I caught it on the countertop. I caught it a couple times. Not every night. It was like almost every other day or every third day. Right. And you know, we heard it once or twice. So I got these traps, but it we never scooped up in a trap. And of course, my cat was probably playing with it or feeding it food. You know, cat sure as hell didn't trap it. Because it was funny. I'd look at the camera and the mouse would be on the couch. Actually, one time the mouse was on the counter and the cat was on the floor, but the cat couldn't see, I guess, because of the angle. It's like, you're right there. Well, that's the last thing I want to find on the kitchen floor first thing in the morning anyway. But
right.
Regardless, a couple days now, you know, after we came back, I noticed, wow, we weren't seeing the mouse on the camera anymore. Then all of a sudden, down the basement, we had some flies. I'm like, ooh. I said, maybe the mouse died, or like maybe the cat did get it. I said, but I'm not smelling anything. And I couldn't really find, I mean, they were by the wash machine, but I'm looking with a light. I couldn't see anything. And you know, then they came upstairs. We had a couple flies upstairs. I'll tell you something. We went to Ace and bought this fly trap. It's a jug, and you put this powder in it and water, and then you put the top on. It's got like a cone. The flies fly in, then they don't get out because this stuff kills them. So you know, it works phenomenal. I can get you the name. I got the envelope upstairs. But the my wife didn't want to have it in the kitchen any more than the flies. We only had like one or two. I said, okay, I think we're done. So we put that thing outside on the deck. Within a day, there had to be about 45 flies in this thing.
Wow.
Holy crap. It worked. It really worked.
Yeah, I'm going tomorrow, believe me, because then these flies are putting it on me. And they got me so messed up. I broke my water. You see it taped up?
That's great.
Man. They're putting it on me.
That's funny. Yeah, that's funny. So, yeah, I got rid of mine, and now you got them.
Yeah, you sent them over here.
Nutty.
Let's get the fellas in and see what they're talking about this week.
Yeah, I'm going to run up. I'll grab that envelope.
Okay. What's up, Brian?
Hey, Lewis.
Jim?
Hey, Brian.
Hey, guys. What's up?
Vince.
Gentlemen.
Yeah, the flies down here are killer, dude.
Man, they're like a new breed, man. They're like nothing.
I got the old school little tape thing you hang in the wall. You know, you hang from the ceiling. Because the wife was like, man, the flies are crazy. Put two of those things up, come back from work, and man, there was about 3,700 of them stuck to that thing. Wow. That was it. Took care of it. Took care of them all. That was it.
All right, Lewis, this is the thing. It's made by Rescue.
Okay.
That's the picture of the little jug. I'll take a picture of it. I'll send it to you.
All right,
and
cool.
I got it at Ace Hardware, and it was like unbelievable. It did the job.
Cool.
So, and while the girls were away, what was it, 2 weeks ago or whatever it was, I got 3 mouse out of the house.
Really?
Yeah, I have an old school mouse trap, and I wrote killer on that thing. And when I got one that's smarter than the average mouse, I get killer off the wall over the fireplace and lay that thing out, and never fails me. That thing is it's pretty nasty. It's blood stained and everything, and it still gets me. A little bit of bacon or peanut butter.
Yeah, peanut butter works really well.
You ain't that mouse ain't leaving that trap.
Yeah.
So
You know, I had a couple mouse, and I had a exterminator come do the whole house, check the house, see where they're coming in. And the places he found, he used steel wool and stuck steel wool in all the little cracks and holes.
Yeah,
So they hate it.
yeah.
Yep.
I guess they can't chew through it. They can chew through almost anything, but not that.
Yep.
So
It's worked so far. Knock on wood. Actually, I'm going around the bus, sticking it up through little holes and stuff. Yep.
So Lewis, you ready to buy one of those boosters I sent you?
Man, look. If I could sneak it in the house without the wife seeing it, I would.
That I'm not a big I'm a Cowie man, always have been. But that one booster that I sent you, that one that's the replica, the 370 horse, all that, that's a nice ride.
Yeah. See, I like the way they sit. I don't even care if it's fast or not. I just like the stance of it and the way you fit on it, man. It's a nice looking bike, man.
It was the Lucky Strike. It was that Lucky Strike street version, I guess, one of the race bikes.
Yeah, they're hot, man. And they've been hot ever since they came out. They're still those KZs, man. I'm a KZ guy too, man. I mean,
that was always been my go-to bike as a KZ 750, KZ 1000, something like that in mid 70s to the early 80s.
Yeah, I had a 79 KZ 750, and I liked it so much that I moved up to the 1000, and it was a big difference. The 1000 is a monster.
And then you can do big bore kits and all that stuff to them, 12, 1300. And, just Christian would probably be the one to ask about all that, because I mean they've got several different kits and all that you can do those KZs. There's, from what I understand, they're still somewhat popular.
So, yeah, they are here. Back in the day, all the dope guys had them, all the dope dealers. See, I got a lot of dope dealer people in my area for some reason. So I would buy their bikes, their old bikes. They've already juiced them up. I mean, they got endless money, so they put it in there, and then they go to jail, and their wife call, "Hey, you want to buy this bike?" Yep.
Yeah.
Sure will. Be right over.
Now, I did send Ray a link, or clicked him a link earlier for one of his favorite BMWs. If he had a chance to see that one.
I was out in the garage sweating my ass off. I didn't see shit. I saw sweat dripping into my eyes is what I saw.
Have you noticed that BMW is coming out with some really nice sports bikes?
Well, they have for a number of years.
Yeah.
I saw two that you talk about, that you mentioned. That is, one of them was a guy that was complaining that he had pitched a rod out the block with 537 miles on the bike.
Oh, wow.
And then the other one was a guy that had a dash cam or a helmet cam, and he did a bonsai run where he ran up to about, I forget what the kph was, but I had to do the conversion, and it was like 234 miles an hour. I mean, it was a bonsai run. I mean, he took off and wound it out 14, 15K every gear. In like second gear, he's already running like 90. Third gear, he's running a $140. And I'm like, good God. I mean, and it just motoring.
Well, the newer ones, like the K bikes, the boxes were always more road bikes, good road course bikes, not as fast, but the K bikes are the fast ones. Mine's a Sport Tourer, and for its era, it's fast. But like the K 1600, that thing's a scorcher. That thing is they do road race that thing over in Europe. It's phenomenal. It's unbelievable. So yeah. The only problem is finding service. It's always hard finding service for those bikes.
Need to kidnap you, Raiden, now that you're retired, and go to the Isle of Man, watch the bike races at the Isle of Man.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know what else is getting pretty fast? I've been watching a lot of videos and guys racing Harleys.
Oh yeah,
fast Harleys, man.
Sure.
Well, that's the something popped on last weekend about the NHRA drag racing, and that was like half the field. Half the field was Suzukis, and half of them were Harleys.
Mm-hmm.
With a V twin based
Yeah, actually, Christian builds Suzuki engines. It's for Daytona, the Daytona 200, and he's had the contract for a number of years. He'll build maybe 25, 30 engines for them. I've seen him under his. He lines them up under the bench. Gorgeous, but they got to have spares, and it's a nice little contract to get. That's like there's a repair shop by me. It's a little 3-bay shop, and they always did general repair. And then I started seeing he was flipping cars. Okay, supplement. Most guys do that. Now I saw every once in a while one of the mail trucks in there. Well, today each bay had a mail truck in it, and he had like 4 of them outside. So this guy got a contract. And I know my buddy at the tranny shop, the same thing. He had a FedEx contract. He's like, you know what? You can take every other job, send it away. He goes, I don't want it. He goes, I want those contract jobs. Because they have a maintenance schedule, and they pay by the schedule whether it needs it or not. So he says, I'm doing clutches and tranny work, whether it needs it or not, and they're just paying me the rate. He says, I'll take that work all day long, and rightfully so. So, yeah.
Yeah, it all works great until they get a new guy in charge, and he says, why are we spending all this money here? We're going to go to this instead.
And funny you say that, because that's exactly what happened. That did happen, and he had to go have a sit down and say, hey, this is the way, everything was run. He goes, well, now it was a new guy came in. Well, now, my job, they asked me to check budget lines and do this and do that. So, my buddy was pitching like, hey, this is a safety issue with a lot of this stuff. There's brakes, there's suspension work and whatnot. So it did decrease, but not, more than he wanted, but not enough to really hurt. I don't think.
Yeah, it was funny because when Jenny's side of family, had always worked for the phone company, way back from Ma Bell. They've, everybody's been in, and it was funny because we got married, and her dad had said, "Oh, I'll get you into the phone company. It's nothing super exciting, but it's make a living, And I said, I don't know, I'm doing all right. And this is when I was still at the dealership and everything. And it was funny because, of course, this is towards the end, and I was leaving the dealership and so forth. And I thought about going to Verizon, in their maintenance program, because they did everything. They had a shop down the road here, and they did. And one thing led to another. I got into the Matco, and it was kind of funny because one of my customers that I had, his brother worked at Verizon.
Oh.
And it was something like 6 months later. I said, oh, we got, there was a toolbox there, another toolbox. And I was like, oh, you got a new guy starting? And he goes, yeah, my brother. And I was like, doesn't your brother work for Verizon? He goes, oh, some new dude came in and said they were spending too much money and dropped the whole program. And I'm thinking like,
oh, yeah.
That,
Then again, you might have been grandfathered in because you had the hook. You never know.
Oh, yeah. Well, like I said, it could have gone elsewhere or done something, but it was just like, wow. And then it was funny because he worked there for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. And one day I came in and the box was gone, and I said, hey, what happened to your brother? He said, oh, you went back to Verizon. This other dude, and they opened the shop back up. It was like,
oh wow,
he had a N, and he went back.
I've mentioned that to people how, because I like to relate stories, and I've told people, guys I know, about how you've done that. Walk into a shop and you notice that a box is missing, or you notice a new one, and they're like, he does what? He can tell. I'm like, oh, dude, you kidding me? He's got the spidey sense. He knows everything that's going on. I'm like, yeah, you're not getting nothing past this guy. And they're like, holy shit, I've never heard of a tool guy that was like that. I'm like, yeah, well, you don't know Brian.
Yeah, there's a lot of us that, you pay attention what's going on,
a lot of guys, the Snap-on guy that comes by me, who I haven't seen in over a year, occasionally he used to come in, but he'd come in like to the office. He stays in the truck. He lets you come out to him. Yeah. It's like, come out here, come out to my office. So he wouldn't know.
We have a couple guys like that. Like you said, they, It's like the thing Vince sent me with the candy. You hear the ice cream truck running.
Right.
We have guys that literally, they just come in, blow a horn. They don't even get out of the truck. And I'm like, dude, don't you even want to see what's going on? Or if there's anybody new that's scared, scared to come out to the truck, or somebody that owes you money that knows that you're there, they ain't going to come out.
Right. Right.
So,
mechanic ain't coming.
Yeah, well, it's almost as good as the Mac ain't coming.
It works.
Right.
So
Vince, how many KZs don't you got a couple KZs now? 2? One's apart and one's together.
Right.
All right.
Why, you want one apart or you want one together? How much money you got?
You always want the one together.
I got food stamps. About it.
You want to be the guy to take it apart.
Well,
my buddy Kevin was on a roll between yesterday and today, and he was sending me links to all these. There's some guy on YouTube, and he's restoring. He sent me an H1, the triple, that was like, it was candy purple. It was a beautiful color. And then he sends another one. It was another 2-stroke Cowie. I'm like, damn, this guy is like cool. And they were like beautifully restored, like nut and bolt, chrome, everything perfect. And he's like, he was advertising that they're going to be coming up for sale this weekend. So he was like teasing everybody. He's going to put them up this weekend. Like,
I've run across a couple sites like that, Ray, to where the one guy that's what he does is he'll get one, a Z1 or KZ or whatever, and he'll work on them, customers' bikes, but he also decks them out and then flips a couple of them here and there. So he's like, this one will be available. This, if you're interested, call me before we paint it. So which I mean, it's not a bad thing to do where he throws it out there where like somebody like Lewis sees a bike that is like 80% of what he wants already. You make a deal, he can squirt it whatever color or tweak it in for whatever the buyer wants. And
Sure. No, that's fine. Yeah.
Every one of those videos you send, man, just listening to them run, man, that's the bike, man.
That was all, and see, that was the thing for me was, as a kid growing up, everybody on the KZs had the Kirker pipes. Well, now all of a sudden somebody was saying, yeah, you can't find it's hard, or I should say, it's hard to find a Kirker, and that's so they're running a different pipe. So I'm like, I've been out of the bike scene for a long time. So
I'll tell you this: back in the day, I was poor. I had my Honda. I couldn't afford a Kirker. I ended up buying a Mac, MAC. And a black Mac, not even chrome, was like $100. I don't know. It was like, it was a 4-into-1, whereas a Kirker was probably like 3 at the time. This black Mac was like $100, or maybe it was $89. I don't even remember. It was like, yeah, I'll take that. That's gonna work.
I just remember it seemed like all the fast bikes had Kirker. You know what I mean? It was just like they had that sound, and it's like, yeah, it's got a Kirker on, got a Kirker bike on it.
I always said it was like you could I could tell an Ironhead Sportster from a half mile off. I could tell a 302 Mustang, but you could always tell a bike with a Kirker. And then that was the thing. That was the hooker header of the day. And Hooker actually made bike pipes back then, but Kirker got so ensconced. All the race teams used them. So again, they had branding. People saw them at the track and say, hey, well, if he's got one, Vance and Hines has one, I got to have one. Of course, Vance and Hines built their own exhausts. But Kirker was the Holly carburetor of the exhaust world back then, for sure. But,
one day when I grow up, I will get another one.
I keep saying the same thing. Like, oh man.
So Ray, that guy, that blue Harley that I showed you the picture of.
Yeah.
He sends me a note and he's dropped the price on it. And I'm like, ooh. It's
really? That's enticing because that was at a pretty good price already.
Yeah, and that's what I'm going. It's like I could do that, but I'm like, as soon as I do it,
yeah, I know. Instant buyer's remorse. I
know. No, it's not buyer's remorse. Something's going to happen. That's my luck. It's not. I'm pretty logical about my.
Me too, and I still have buyer's remorse. I still like, what did I do that for? Every time I win that eBay bid, I'm like, son of a bitch, why did I increase it one more time? God damn it. One more time.
The
It's
last
like, I
one.
don't really need the goddamn thing. And now I got it. Whatever.
No, but it's I mean, and hell, even if I did nothing but buy it, clean it up, and then try to flip it,
Yeah.
because
What Harley is it?
it's a, I can't remember if it's a late 80s or mid 90s, but it's a carbureted Evo, 5-speed, and it's, of course, it's the spec I like. It's the motor's all natural. It doesn't have all the paint and everywhere.
Right.
It's been lowered. It's like an FXDS or something, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be a good, it's one of the better riding, the FX.
FXD is a Dyna. The S, I don't know if it's a DS or if it would be a D. I kind of lost in the alphabet soup around that time. They really poured it on thick and heavy so nobody could follow it unless you were in the dealership. It's ridiculous.
Hey,
Is it a
Ray
hardtail?
Lewis might want that dresser.
That was another nice one. That was another decent bike. But
Yeah,
it looked like it was a little sweaty around the edges, I thought.
Well,
Yeah.
Again, that's one of those that you pick it up and make it your own.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, too, with that, it looks like it had been sitting outside. So now you got the weather aspect to it. It was in Georgia, too, that bike.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the weather isn't too kind to bikes in Georgia when they're outside in the elements.
Heat, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't. Let's see, is it? It's a soft tail. It's one of the versions of the soft tail. It's not because it doesn't have the exposed rear shocks like a Dyna would. So it's everything's tucked underneath into the swing arm.
It could be an FX. Yeah, it could be FXST, S being soft tail. Yeah.
But that's what caught my attention when I saw it, is that the motor is aluminum. You know what I mean? It doesn't have the blacked out jugs and all that, and the primary case, and all the chrome, because I'd rather ride than sit there and polish.
That's why I like the black, because I got this stuff inside. It's
I know what you're talking about. It's the HD 100 or whatever. You spray it on the black and it blackens it out.
That's S100.
S100.
No, this other stuff is. I'll show you. I have it right next door. Hang on.
We know, Ray.
How you doing over there, Papa Squirrel?
I'm just sitting here listening to all. My bike riding days are way the hell over.
When I was married, my wife was open to riding, but she was like, if we buy a bike, it's got to be I want it to be a trike. And I was like, okay. I mean, I'm not opposed to a trike, but it wouldn't have been my first choice, but
Hey, Mama wants to ride.
that's it. Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, my wife loves to ride.
I was coming back from Tampa the other day. What the hell is this? It's Tuesday. I was coming back from down there, and it was a definite man and a woman couple. He had a full dresser Winnebago, and she was riding something like a Dyna or a Softail, and they were riding together.
So you're seeing that a lot these days.
Well, and that's the thing, is I always thought it was cool because a lot of them. It goes back to a story that a buddy of mine told. He bought his dad because his mom and dad rode, and they were one of those iron butt couples where they'd they'd leave Savannah and go to Key West for lunch. You know what I mean? They would just ride.
Yeah.
And he bought them an intercom system. And his dad pulled him aside and he goes, we've ridden for years and years. And he goes, there's a reason that I don't have an intercom system. When I rode, I didn't necessarily want to listen to you. He goes, I appreciate the gift. It's very thoughtful. He goes, but there's a reason that I hadn't got one yet. I was like,
Well, the other day we were riding and I'm talking. I was like, are you asleep?
Uh-oh, Lewis froze.
Rose, he's sleeping.
He fell
There
asleep.
you go.
Not on that word.
Uh-oh.
Well,
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I'm
back.
back.
Yeah. I was about to
So
say, Ray
you
left.
asked her if she was
Lewis went to
sleeping.
sleep.
Yeah, she's better sleep. I'm talking to her through the helmets.
I saw a video tonight when I was finishing up my paperwork. This girl, it's a couple, and they're riding. He's got a horse collar on, like a reverse horse collar, and it's got a phone sitting there. She's watching a movie and got like a little snack tray right in front of her. So he's riding and she's watching a movie. So
Hey, you gotta be careful.
I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Well, back in the day when my mom and dad rode, they'd both be on the bike, and they'd go into the turn, and my dad would lean, and my mom would lean the other way, and they'd miss the turn and everything together. They just go right through, and that was pretty much it for the riding days. Because my dad would say, you have to lean with me, and my mom would say, well, I don't want the bike to fall over, so she'd lean the other way. So they didn't last very long riding together.
There's a Ron White bit about that, about riding a scooter and leaning.
So yeah, I couldn't have the patience now. I mean, I used to ride with a buddy of mine back in the day, and you only had maybe once in a blue moon you had to kick a fender in because somebody not paying attention. I'd spend all day beating the crap out of cars, nobody paying attention.
It's crazy.
So
my neighbor calls me and she goes, "Hey, come over. I want to tell you something." So I go over there. She goes, "You still have your bike?" I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "Okay, well, God told me that you need to watch. You might get in an accident." I'm like, "Oh." I'm like, "Okay, thanks." I come back home. My head. Like, what do you do with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got to do some praying before we ride again.
Well, my only trouble is now I've got, well, I can't call it the shakes, but I'm really unstable when I walk. And I just couldn't ride one because I don't have the reactions that I used to. And with all these damn fools on the road, you got to be able to think and react and get out the way.
Yeah.
Unless you do like a friend of mine did in San Antonio in the 70s. Guy ran him off the road, and he said he just went shit. Reached down between his legs, pulled his 357 out, pulled up alongside the car, and shot the motor.
There you go.
That's like, this is back when the girl, I mean, this is when they were in elementary school. We'd be sitting at the bus stop, and I had a buddy that used to live down on, we have these horse farms behind us, and he had a farm at one of those horse farms down there. And he had, when the Can-Ams, the Can-Ams came out, and he'd come by and stop and talk, and he used to work at the dealership. He was a salesman and an arms dealer, but that's a whole different story. And so he come by, and I'll never forget, the girls are sitting there looking at his bike, and he's trying, we're just talking. He's like, "Oh, hey, how you girls doing?" And I don't know if it was Brianna or Molly, but it was one of them. They said, "When are you going to take the training wheels off?"
Oh.
And the guy looked, because on the Can-Am it had the two front wheels.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the way the bike's supposed to be. Man, he never stopped again. He was so mad, I guess, when that kid said, "When are you going to take the training wheel off?" Because it had the one wheel up front. That was kind of funny. But so he takes off. He's like, I said, "Girl, that's the way that bike's supposed to be." And he goes, "Well, why didn't he have the training wheels on the back?" Because, they were just learning to ride bikes. They had training, and I was like, "That's the way the motorcycle is." And they were like, "Oh, that's weird." Yeah, that was funny. When are you going to take the training wheel off?
Hey, so we got a special guest that just popped in the thing. We haven't seen him in a long time. I thought he was in jail. I didn't know where the brother was at. But we're
I've
gonna
been
put
worried about him myself.
yeah, we're gonna put him back up and see what he's talking about.
Oh, look at that.
Hey,
It's like the second coming.
Uh,
God.
I just saw one of his videos today.
They were on a
One
loop.
where
I
you
thought,
were
I thought it was just the same old ones playing.
Introduce yourself, stranger.
oh, I missed you guys too.
Who are you? Where you from? What do you do for a
Oh.
living?
Oh, you guys didn't look in the right place. You guys didn't look in the back of milk cartons.
Yeah, there you go.
They paying you too much YouTube money? Is that what it is? That Instagram money coming in now?
I've been falling asleep, man. I've been tired.
First time caller, long time listener.
Yeah, I've been sleeping, man. I've been going to sleep early, man.
That's what the afternoon is for, man. That's what 3 o'clock is for.
Yes,
We're good at work.
That's when I'm still at work. See, I'm not retired like some of you guys, man.
I used to sleep at work.
Yeah,
Get up on the desk.
yeah.
Out.
They frown upon that type of stuff at the office, you know.
You know, Louis, you would like this. My one of my good buddies works at the MTA bus garage in Jamaica, and he does about. He's an inspector, so he doesn't have to do mechanical work. He inspects the buses and then gives out the jobs. But he said he has maybe about 3 hours of work a day, sometimes 3, maybe 4, maybe less. So he does that in the morning, and then he goes to his office, and he's there the rest of the day. And I said, oh, wow, you got an office? He says, well, they don't give us offices. He says, I took a bus, a city bus, and decommissioned it. He says, I put it in the building. He goes, that's my office. Because I got the AC going 24/7. I got TV in there. He goes, they know that's my office. It's a full-size city bus. I was like, holy shit, that's great.
Is it like one of those 1965 buses, one of those old buses, or is it like
No,
something that's new that's like
just
to be driven?
They're all running the modern stuff now. It's a New York City bus, but it's probably a couple of years old, I guess, because
Wow.
he decommissioned it. So
They have to put them out of service, I think, after 12 years.
yeah, so or he found one that he was able to say had enough mechanical issues that he could. Everything was wrong but the AC. So he goes, gotta have that AC work.
And the TV.
And as well, I think he added the TV. Yeah.
I was waiting on one from where I was working, but it never came up to the auction. So a month after I bought this bus, it popped up in the auction.
Wow.
And it had a brand new motor in it. They just did a whole bunch of work to it, but it just timed itself out.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a school bus though. You wanted a school bus, right?
Right.
I would have did a city bus because it's already lowered. It already had the high ceiling. Man,
wow.
Yeah, I would have took that in a minute.
Like I said, if money was no object, Lewis, I'd find me a Buffalo, a GMC or GMC Buffalo, and that would be what I'd convert into a coach.
Yeah, yep. They're nice buses.
The buses.
Even the Greyhounds. Greyhounds are still nice too, but the Greyhounds does so many miles on them.
Well, that's like there's another channel that I watch from time to time, and that's kind of the guy's specialty is 2-stroke Detroits, and that's a lot of those.
Yeah.
But a lot of those old Greyhounds, that's what they had. Were the 2 strokes. Because his bus is a 47 4107, I think is what he's got, and that's him and his wife have converted it over. He's the one I was watching his stuff, and he was talking about doing solar and a mini split and battle-born batteries and stuff, and it's like holy cow! He actually was talking about how expensive those battle-born batteries were, but it's like 100 amp hour, and he's got like 6 or 7 of them in his bus.
Yep.
So, but when they boondock, but he was saying, he goes, money in, money out. He goes, the setup we have, if we boondock for 3 or 4 days, he says, all we've got to do is throw the panels up, catch a couple hours. And he goes, we've got enough to keep the AC or the heat running. He goes to cook and whatever. And he goes, because we've got a nice big house bank and the charger. And he's got some of like race stuff, some of the semi sine wave stuff, and some of the, he's got the good stuff in it, but he spent the money where he needed to, and he goes, the thing because it works like a champ. So
I like
I've
seeing.
always heard you couldn't run air conditioning on batteries.
I'll shoot you one of the links to
I'm
his stuff there, and where it's, you know, like I said, that's what like I said, that's kind of where he made his channel, made his name, was working on these old buses and coaches. And
You
you know,
can. You can run AC. It's just a lot of power. It's just you got to have a lot of power.
Yeah.
like
That's
I said,
why. That's why we don't have it that way. I mean, I can run. I can go 45. Well, I can go a little more, almost an hour, and I can have everything. I can't run AC in the back of my truck, but if the truck is off, I can go over an hour, and I can run all the lights, computer, and have everything going. And to do the AC, the guy had said that I needed X amount of more money to do it if you wanted to run AC.
Yeah.
They have like these heat pumps, like what your house basically. When on my old truck, when the AC went out, I was thinking about doing it, converting it over, and changing. But the guy said I had to add so much more power if I not having the truck running.
Yeah, my mini splits are real efficient. I'm running probably 400 watts each unit. So my solar panels are bringing in 1,700 watts. So I can run both units.
What's the C rating on those units, Lewis? Do you know?
I don't know. No, I can't even tell you.
I know they've gotten better. I know the ones I have in my house are 17, and I know they're better than that now. I was just curious how much better.
The power, I think they're. I can't remember.
No,
mine are almost. I think it's a little over 2,000.
Talking about the SEER rating, SEER. That's how they rate the efficiency.
Sear, whatever they.
I know I got the newer version because that was one of the things. I thought it was 22. I have to look on the side. It's not there. I know. I think I saw that.
Right.
Written.
Let's see.
Yeah, I know. I debated when we were having issues in the coach,
so that I can see better,
because that coach had what they call a basement AC, like a house.
Yeah. All right.
And the guy's like, we don't work those. We don't work. It was an older system. Well, come to find out, I contacted the manufacturer, and they made and basically I went on their website and they said, hey, if you have this machine, this is the direct bolt-in new system. So that's when I went back and told the guy, and I said, hey, this took me all of about 30 seconds to find the direct bolt-in from the same company who made the original. You couldn't find that, and you're supposed to, that's what you do, is repair and work on RVs and campers.
You don't want to sound like me, Vince. That's causing trouble.
All right. I found out SEER stands for Seasonal Energy Efficiency Ratio. And it's, they bounce over there. And they're saying here that most ACs currently in the market have a SEER rating from 13 to 23, which makes sense. I know mine's a 17, and it could easily be a 20-something. So that's, that's kind of the guide you go by on the mini splits.
Come on, Missy Rocky, let's go upstairs. Okay, you ready?
So Terry, what you been up to since you've been hiding witness protection?
Everything, man. What I have not been up to, just been, trying to keep busy, and actually spend a lot of time with family. So every now and then you got to walk away from some stuff and just hang out with family. Yeah. And so now I'm trying to get back into saddle because I got a couple other projects that I got to take care of. We're trying to get that burgundy pickup truck out to LS Fest, so we're gonna do like 3 or 4 days of installing the LS engine with the transmission that came out of the Trailblazer SS, which is 4L70. That's worked, so we're gonna put that in there just for the time being, and just to get it out to Bowling Green.
Super build. We're gonna call it the super build.
The super build. Yeah, it's gonna be in if everything goes right, it's gonna be in the PSI booth.
What year is that truck again?
91.
91. My son's looking at a 92 right now.
They're cool trucks.
4-wheel drive. It's got a MB 4500 5-speed. And
It's 5-speed. Oh,
it's only got I think he said 120,000 miles on it.
That's nothing. It's got the 350 throttle body in there.
Yeah, I'm sure. He a couple months back he got quasi T-boned on his way to work. And
I hope he's okay.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. Luckily where he works, he can take a work truck home. So he's just been using that going to and from work. And once he got the insurance claim on it, which took a while, they paid him out. They totaled his car. And he was looking at a couple Mustangs. And I was like, hey, you've worked hard. You deserve it. Get a Mustang. And then he saw this truck and he went and looked at it. It was a one owner. It's at a car lot, but it's a one owner. And it was a woman that owned it. And with that low mileage on it, 4-wheel drive and everything, I'm figuring it's somebody that owned like 5 acres, 10 acres, maybe some horse property. And all they used it for is to get feed and stuff because the mileage is real low on it. And, you know, he said it looks nice on the inside and everything, like the interior's kept up. So I'm thinking he should have it unless somebody gets it out from under him. He should have it in the next week or so.
Yeah, I'd like to see a picture. Send me a picture. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I'll send you one on Messenger. I'll have him send me the link again.
Yeah, because I'd love to see it. You know, I'm all into these trucks now.
Yeah, it's a step side also.
Oh, is step side? Yeah. I really didn't want a step side.
Yeah, I told him that's the only thing that I had against it was it's a step side. And then I asked him because the lot he went to, so he was going to go look at that truck, but the lot he went to, it had a Mustang on there also. I said, so how was that Mustang? And he goes, it was there. And he starts telling me more about the truck. And I said, but the Mustang. And he's like, yeah, it's thick and everything. And I said, yeah, so tell me more. Like, when are you going to pull up in my driveway with the Mustang? I want to drive it.
He said, I'm going to pollute your driveway with the truck.
Yeah, and then he started talking about the truck. But he had asked me when he told me he came over and showed me he showed me on the website the advertisement for it, and he said, would that pull that trailer you have? And because my dad, I inherited a haul trailer from my dad, but my dad built it from scratch and he way overbuilt it. Like, it's super, super overbuilt, too heavy for, you know. But I said, depending on what 5-speed it came with, I said, if it's the NV, it'll be fine. And he came back and Dad, it's got the NV. And I said, so tell me about the Mustang. He goes, no, Dad, it's got the NV.
Yeah, I think he's not getting that Mustang.
Yeah, no.
He's not going to get that Mustang.
But yeah, no, I'm excited for him. He gets that truck. I just been waiting for him to pull up in that truck.
Wait a second. Hold on. What year's his truck?
It's a 92 that he's looking at. Oh,
92. So it looks like my truck. It's the same body style, right?
Yeah, it's an OBS.
Does he want a Cal hood?
I could probably talk him into one.
because I have a new Cal hood on my for my truck.
Okay.
And it goes to a good place. Okay. If he's interested, let him look at it. And the one that I have is a metal one from AMD, but then the one that's on there now is a fiberglass one.
Okay.
Moving a little bit.
Yeah, so, I don't. He's not. So I couldn't say he would or wouldn't. He's not. He's not so big in flash. He's like, oh, whatever. If I get it, I get it. If it comes with it, whatever. But I'll talk to him. He might be interested. I mean, I might be interested in talking him into it.
Yeah, I'll have everyone on the screen sign it. Good luck. We have to ship it to everyone's house.
Yeah.
That'd be a hell of a.
Just throw it in the truck when you go to Bowling Green, and everybody will meet in Bowling Green and sign it there.
Bowling Green is not come one down. Yeah.
Yeah.
More people get on where it gets.
Yeah, that's a
Jim, before you leave, I just want to show you because we talked last week, but there's the 64 Vista Cruiser.
Ooh. Oh yeah.
Nice. I like
Cruiser.
that.
Yeah, they had it in the two colors: the blue mist, and then like a green. The green's kind of hard to see in the package.
I can see it. Yeah, I can see the green.
You see it? Yeah, it's nice.
Where'd you find those?
These were at Target. This is the newest release from Johnny Lightning, but the 64 Vista Cruiser with the 330. Is that what they said it had?
Okay.
330 V8, 64 Vista Cruiser, 290 horsepower, 355 foot-pounds of torque.
That's the aluminum V8.
I like when I see those wagons like hooked up, like where the front end looks like a either Chevelle SS or GTO or either a Oldsmobile, Hearst Olds, where they take the front fascia, put the hood and all that. I like looking at the wagons, those 8-body wagons when they dress them up.
Well, some came like that.
You can get an SS wagon, like a 70 SS wagon.
Yeah.
Really? I did not know that was an option.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if you can get it with a stick.
It's funny
I went to school with a guy. I went to school with an LTD wagon, and it had a 4-speed in it. We called him the Wagon Master. That was his nickname in school, and he had that big old LTD swinging a lot with a 4-speed in it.
It came like that from the factory?
I'm pretty sure it did.
Back
then we weren't very smart. Back then we weren't very smart like today, Gary.
No, the one Tom Cotter had was a V8. It was a I think it was a 390 or a 428. I think it was a 394 speed with power windows, had bucket seats and a console.
Yeah, but some of those wagons, Ford had the 4-wheel drive on those wagons.
Oh, I didn't know that.
This was an older. This was like an old. I want to say it was a 72.
Yeah, like the 72 with the big front grille. Yeah,
yeah. Was. I think he had it. It was white. It was white, and he had Steelies on it that had the dog caps on. It looked like a police car. It had it was this plain Jane on the outside, but it was I want to say it was a 4. I think it was a 428, and it had a 4-speed.
Bench seat or no? You said buckets.
Well, I don't know I can't remember what he had in the. It had, but the ugly, typical. It wasn't. It had what was it like? Baby poo brown interior with white. It was. It's always crazy. It might have been. I was either brown or a light green interior. I know it was kind of ugly, that standpoint. But we were stupid back then, man. We bought stuff and drove it. We didn't. The only guy I knew, my buddy Carl, he was the only guy I knew that he had a Pontiac Ventura, right? Is that like the Nova?
That's the Nova, yeah.
Yeah, he had a Pontiac Ventura, and I remember when he put a 4-speed in it because it had an automatic, and we all thought that he was like the god of rocket science. I mean, it was like, how in the world that he did that? But I mean, Carl was Carl. I mean, that was a buddy of mine, and he would do shit like that. He's the one that had it was just recently, but he had I think it's an Oldsmobile, big body Oldsmobile thing, and he put a Cummins diesel in it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's just that kind of guy. Yeah, it's crazy, but I tell you one thing, that thing flies, though, man. That thing moves.
It's funny, Brian. I almost sent you a link to a reel that I saw yesterday morning, and it was like a 67 Country Squire wagon, and the guy had the Marty report on it, and it was a 1 of 1. And when the guy ordered it, he ordered a deluxe interior 428, 4-speed, like 390 gears or whatever in it. And they're like, and this was like a one owner. The guy had the person who had it now bought it, and it was like, yeah, this guy ordered this car and bought it and has had it all these years. And it was basically, the guy goes, yeah, he wanted a hot rod, but mama needed a car too. So he compromised. And like I said, it had a console and a 4-speed in it and all that. And it was a Country Squire wagon, and it had the wood grain on the side.
Yeah, it's funny.
What year was it?
67. If you've ever seen the Thomas Crown Affair, the original, the real one, when he pulls up in front of the bank, it looked just like that one. It's like, had the big Country Squire hubcaps and all on it. And the guy goes, this guy ordered his car, and he goes, he actually got a phone call from Ford when he ordered it and put a deposit down. They told him, he says, they might not build this because of some of the options, but he goes, about 2 or 3 weeks later, he says he got a phone call from, or I forget what they called it, the special vehicle operations or whatever. And they said, we're going to build this one, just to let you know. So, but it was, like I said, it was a Marty documented 1 of 1 428 4-speed Country Squire wagon.
Nice.
I definitely would have built that. I'd be like, yeah, we're building this. We're building this.
That's probably what happened.
Take it to the track.
Well, see, Terry, that's what I miss about the older days, which Ray could probably give more about, and Papa Squirrel, where you could go to the dealership and pick what you wanted, instead of now it's, oh, well, this is a package.
Yep.
You want the XLT package, or you want the Lariat package, and it's like, no, I don't want this, but I want that. Well, you can't do that.
Right.
When I ordered my GT, my 89, and it was funny. Well, you had to order it. You go to the dealer and you ordered it, and because it was the anniversary year, that if you ordered it between this time and that time, I don't know what the span was, you got an anniversary car, and it wasn't flashy. It wasn't like when they did the 20th anniversary with the GT 350 stuff or anything like that. But you got a medallion on the car, and you could order it. Like I said, there was on ordering. Well, I had ordered with T-tops, and so a couple weeks had gone by, and the dealership called me and said, hey, your car was kicked out. They're not going to build it. What do you want to do? And I was like, well, what do you mean they're not going to do it? Well, they're not offering T-tops in 89 because it took the cells away from the convertibles. So he said, we're not, they're not doing it. It was kicked back, and they're not going to build it with T-tops. And I was like, all right, well, I said, well, just order it without the T-tops. And he goes, okay. He goes, well, I'll put the order in. And I was like, well, I'm out of the date now, for the anniversary. That's the whole reason why I ordered the car. I would have bought one on there. He goes, oh, well, don't worry. We'll get around that. Don't worry about it. So the car was ordered. I don't know, 6-8 weeks later, I get the phone call, come get the car. And this was up at right outside in Pennsylvania, down there by the old Harley dealership. My dad knew a guy that owned a Ford dealership up there, where the Harley plant was. And so I go up there and get the car. And sure enough, it has the badge on it. The window sticker had the anniversary thing, the whole 9 yards, And I was like, oh, good. I still got that pack, that deal, because not all the cars had it. Well, of course, it was so funny then because everybody bitched about it. About 4 weeks later, I get a letter and a package from Ford. They sent everybody the little emblem and everything. So I still have another set laying around here, because everybody wanted the anniversary thing, and so they sent out. Of course, the only thing they didn't have and it's over on the other side. But you know, it was the window sticker that had the anniversary dates on it. So you know,
Well,
64.
depending upon what year,
Mm-hmm.
some of those companies, or what was it? Pontiac. There was a company. My buddy had a 69 or 70 GTO,
Yes.
and there was a company who would remake the Ronies,
Mm.
and it was basically a copy of what was on it. Because one of the guys was he goes, oh, I'm trying to get him to do this, do that. And they're like, no, all they do is reprint the original Roni. They don't change, because he wanted to change it, have him put the judge package and this and that.
Oh,
And he goes,
yeah.
What was on the original Roni is what's going to be on there. Mark New City. I hadn't seen heard from him in years. He had a beautiful. Ray, you can tell me it looked orange to me, but they didn't call it orange.
Carousel red.
The GTO
was Hugger orange. Yeah, it was. They called it carousel red though.
Yep.
4-speed. I mean, this was a stout piece, but
could have been a Ram F4 car.
My dad had this Nova, and he stuck it was a automatic, and he stuck a four speed in it.
Box Nova.
I remember when he was changing it over, he had it up on jack stands, and while he was working on it, you know, he's crawling in from the one side. I was on the other side laying down playing with my Hot Wheels, watching him work. I was probably probably about 5 or 6.
Oh,
And
Coach, stop! You were like 32, okay?
I know, right?
and then that's the if you can see it, that's that. What is that? A100
Van?
Dodge van.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, look at that. Tell by that headlight.
Everybody wanted the seats up.
Yeah.
The Ford.
We used to
Ford control.
We used to take that thing. My dad used it for everything, but we used to take it camping. He used it for
I didn't unplug it today.
if he was laying block or doing carpentry or whatever. As long as he didn't need the bed of his truck, and he just needed to throw some tools in, he'd throw them in the van and he'd take off in the van. He took that van for everything.
My grandfather had a 62 or 63 ramp side Corvair. And I'd love to try to find one of those, but every time I find one, it's either rusted into the ground and just reclaimed, or they want mint money for it.
I remember when
You
I
had
was
that
in
on
middle.
the T1 Volkswagens. The side, you're talking about the one that had the side door that folded down, right?
That's why they call it a ramp side, is because it would drop down and you could just load it, and it had a regular tailgate in the back too, but you could drop that ramp on the side and load it. And that's what he had on his farm.
I remember when I was in junior high, my dad would always I'd say, let's take the truck. He had a 72 GMC. And I'd say, drop me off at school in the truck. He'd always want to take the van. I hated the van. Green and white van, ugly green. I was so embarrassed of that van. If my prayers were answered that day, the light would turn red. And I'd be like, I'll jump out right here. And I'd jump out and I see some friends and I'll go. But if my prayers weren't answered that day, and I know my dad knew I was embarrassed, we would pull into the school. He'd, all right, love you, son. And I'm like, whatever. And I jump out. Well, he had an old Auga horn. And as he pulled off, he hit the Auga horn. And I'm like, oh my God.
That's great.
Funny.
Like the Fresh Prince, man. You ruined my rep. You ain't got no rep.
That's too
Auga, no rep.
Killed it right there.
That's
All
what
right,
you
it's
had
time
to
for me
do.
to get out of here.
I have to go to bed.
All right, Terry.
It was
Take
a
care,
pleasure,
Terry.
Ray, everyone.
Take care, Terry.
I'll be
All
here
right, Terry,
next
talk
week.
tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll talk with you guys.
Hey, I'll hit you on Messenger a picture of that truck.
Please let me know. Definitely, I'd like to
For
see
sure.
that truck too. All right.
For sure.
I'll shoot you an OBS,
Take care.
Terry.
It's all welcome. Everyone shoot me an OBS. And don't forget, I still got your QA1 hats. I got to get those out to you guys.
Please.
Oh, yeah.
You're killing me with that.
There's
shouldn't
two
even
boxes
brought it
right
up.
there. I know I should have brought it. I should just got the. But how could I get the addresses? And they sent it to me too. So I have no one to blame but myself. Bad Terry. Bad Terry.
Can't even get you to meet at Brown's Barbecue.
Where's that?
Brown's Barbecue.
Yeah.
No, St. Joe or you forgot Brown's Barbecue, your hometown.
Brown's Barbecue in my hometown, Spring Valley.
Not that hometown.
Oh, down south.
Yeah.
When come time for me to go down there, I'm gonna definitely give you a call and we can meet. We'll do the barbecue. Is that when you want me to give you a hat?
That's fine.
Wait, all that time, that might be forever.
Yeah, that'd be forever.
You know what,
Yeah,
Brian?
you guys would be bald with your hair.
You're gonna get the misfit hat, Brian.
I know. Thanks, Larry.
I'm gonna give you the hat. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I ain't.
It's all right.
Good night, gentlemen.
Take care,
Good night, Terry.
See you, Terry.
Take care, guys.
Yeah,
Take it easy.
See you, Jim.
you guys were saying if I wish I still had that van. Yeah, for sure. Looking back now, at the time I hated it, but yeah, looking back, I'd take it in a heartbeat.
Oh,
Yeah, I did that with my daughter. I had an 89 Sunbird GT convertible,
Mhm.
and it was gray and black. I mean, I thought it looked cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, she was in high school. She didn't think it looked cool. But I would take her to school, and it didn't run really well. And it's just all loud and crappy. And I would drop her off at the high school. Like, see you later. I'd make sure. I'm like, bye, see you, bye. Make sure she knows, all her friends know that she's getting dropped off in that car. She's like, Dad, can you pick me up in a different car? I'm like, no, I like this car.
You guys had it
Convertible.
I used to drop the girls off in the tool truck.
Well, when my older daughter was in grade school, she wasn't even in middle school yet. I used to bring her on the back of the Harley on my Super Glide, and man, her cred went up like 9,000. Even the teachers were like, "Your dad, you come with your dad on a motorcycle?" Oh yeah, I ride with him all the time.
Yeah, we did the opposite.
Yeah.
Embarrassing.
And I drive him, and then it'd be funny because it was like years later. I mean, the girls had graduated, and I don't know where I was. And some lady came up to me and she goes, "Did your daughter used to go to such and such high school?" And I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "I used to see you every morning dropping her off in the tool truck." So
when my kids
you were being talked about.
when my kids were in grade school and then middle school, we had a Nissan Pathfinder, and I had 2 kicker competition 12s in it, and they'd hear us, and my kids loved it. And then we didn't have the when my daughter was in high school, one of the last times I dropped her off, we didn't have the Pathfinder. I had my S10 Blazer, and she didn't really care what I dropped her off in, but we come pulling up and I'm listening to is it Miss New Booty? That booty rocking everywhere. And I've got it turned up and I'm jamming. And she goes, we're coming up to the school, and she goes, Dad, turn it down. I'm like, what? That's good music. And she goes, Dad, turn it down. Don't embarrass me. I'm like, you never get embarrassed. Like, she goes, I'm not worried about the Blazer. Just, I don't want you coming up with that, with the booty music playing. And I'm like, and if I don't turn it down, and she goes, then I'm going to get out and shake my ass when I get out the car. I'm going to embarrass you. And I said, okay, it's going down real quick.
Well, it was funny because they would have the cones up, because they had the school buses on one side, and then we had to go through a parking lot.
Truck.
And the first time I came through in the tool truck, I wiped all the cones out. I just made my own path, I followed the line, but I was like, look, dude, you got to give me a little bit more room. And for the rest of the year, we had a nice runway, man. You could land an airplane through that place, man. It was set up. But the funny part, Emma this was like, this was before this. This was like daycare. And this was at the church daycare. And we'd come rolling in. I'd be in the F-350 we come rolling in playing Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil. And Emma's singing along, you know, and the church, you know, where we're dropping and I mean, we didn't fit into that with that crowd. That was I was like, man, this little kid walking in screaming, shouting at the devil.
Yeah.
We're going to church to me to the daycare place. We didn't really fit in there too well.
My kids went to school in different cars all the time because I was repoing. So I'd take the repo cars. It was always in a different car.
Witness protection for sure.
Yeah, my neighbor, me and him became pretty good friends, and it was probably 3 years after I lived there, maybe longer, 4 years. He goes, man, I want to tell you something. Don't get mad at me. I was like, what? He goes, when you first moved here, we thought you were a drug dealer or a car thief. I had the repo lot in the front of my property, so I had 40 cars out at all times. And a truck would be coming to pick them up. They was like, man, we thought you were a gangster over there.
That's funny.
Yeah.
No, I can verify that my son was never really thrilled when I'd pick him up in the bobtail tractor. I'd come around and pick that up. He's like, where's your pickup truck? And I was like, I'm not going 15 miles out of my way to get my pickup when your school's right here where I can just grab you in the truck and then we'll go get in the pickup afterwards. But no, I hate when you bring that thing here. And I went, do you want to walk? There you go. So I ain't looking to push them hush puppies.
They don't understand until they get to be parents. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, I picked up my son before I was doing landscaping, and the whole back of the truck it's full of crap, leaves and branches. I'm like, come on, get in. It looked like a freaking huge mess. It's like, Dad, couldn't you dump it? I'm like, no, same thing. You're on the way home. I'm not going home, coming back.
Yeah.
Speaking of landscapers, so when not my oldest son, but my other son, he wanted to go for the football program. He wanted to go to a different school than his siblings, and it was one of the richer schools. Now, the school that the siblings went to was a pretty well-to-do school too, but this was like the top of the top. And in the afternoons after football practice, I would go pick him up in my S10 Blazer, and with my goatee and everything. He tells me one day, he goes, Dad, all the kids are asking, who's the Mexican guy that picks you up? Because if you guys remember, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, I showed you pictures of my middle child. While my daughter and my son are blonde. And they go, who's the Mexican guy that picks you up? And he's like, what Mexican guy? There's this one Mexican, like real Mexican guy that picks you up. And he's like, in the white truck, the Blazer. And they're like, yeah, that's him. Who is that guy? He's like, that's my dad. and my son's name is Diego. And they're like, your dad's Mexican? And he goes, my name's Diego. And anyways, I told him, I said, just tell him I'm the gardener. I said, just tell him your mom sends the gardener up. I said, and better yet, you really want to mess with him. My wife got so pissed at me for this. I said, what you tell him is that the guy that picks me up is the gardener, and you don't understand it. Your mom just raves about this gardener, but nothing seems to ever be cut or cleaned up around the house. Of course, my wife got really, really angry, and I said, what's funny is if he did do it, is all the kids that would say, hey, my mom's got a pool guy like that. or whatever.
Pool's always dirty. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Look, we fixed the Prius. Remember the Prius story from last week?
What was it?
Oh my gosh, pain in the neck. It was on the trailer. I took it all the way into Tampa to the Prius guy. There's a Tampa Hybrids, and he has probably like 20 Priuses there. So he does mostly just Priuses, but also other hybrids. And he's like, we should be able to get it off the trailer. He gets in. He's like, there's no power. I go, yeah, I know.
Ta-da.
Like, that's why it's here. Like, we can't get it. So they're messing around. One guy's opens the hood. He's looking at the fuses. He checks that one fuse that I already replaced, and he goes, "All right, well, this one's good." So he starts going down and testing all the fuses, and then one fuse he pressed down, and he heard like relays click on and everything.
Ah,
And he goes, "Try it now." I'm like, "Yeah, it worked."
Jesus.
Like, an hour drive there, hour drive back. I'm like, "All right, what do I do?" He goes, "Don't worry about it." He goes, "I didn't do anything. All I do is push down a fuse." I'm like, "Man, I checked all the fuses," but he must have just a little bit extra pressure.
So it worked itself loose, like
I
popped
guess.
itself out. That's
Yeah,
weird.
there was but my son just drove it home. Then he went out and he goes, "Dad, the car did it again." I'm like, "What?" I go under the hood, just push down. He didn't know what fuse he hit. He goes, "There's one of these ones on the lower left bank. I don't know what it was for. You know, it said ECU or something. One of those down there." I'm like, "I have no idea." So I go, "Just press them all down. Make sure they're all seated." And he goes, "All right." He goes, "It started." I go, "All right." So when he got home, I just started pulling every fuse. Like, "All right, let me pull every fuse and just look at them." I'm like, "All right, looks good. There was one that looked like, because you can see the little loop, right? It had like a little, like the plastic might have been melted or something in the middle. I don't know if that was it. Tossed that one, put a new one in. There was some that I just pulled and it like came right out. So it must have, I'm thinking maybe heat cycles or got worn. Put a new one in there. So I replaced a bunch of them. And so
It's
far,
funny
so
that
good.
you say that. On my old tool truck, it was the same thing. One day I walked out. I was in the shop. I usually leave it running, but I turned it off. And went in the shop, did my business, come out, truck wouldn't start. And nothing. It was dead, And I was like, panicking. Like, fuck, And I messed around, looking at everything, and got into the fuse box, and I started checking, and same thing. Pushed in a fuse, and the truck started up.
Yeah.
And so I didn't think nothing of it. It's running, just leave it running. So it was a couple months had gone by. Truck wouldn't start. So, and this was at the house. I was like getting ready to leave, in the morning. Nothing. And of course, I'm like getting all fired up. And then I said, "Oh, yeah. Let me check that fuse." Sure enough. So what I had to do was I took for whatever reason, I took the fuse and I tweaked it. Slid it in, never had the problem again because I guess it made a better connection or whatever.
Yeah.
But on the second story on that, the Hyundai that we had bought for Emma, my daughter, she would drive the car, and by the time she got up to Columbia, that's like 35-minute drive or whatever to work. She said the car would sometimes cut out. And she'd be like, "I'm at the park," I'd park the car and the car would cut out, or she'd go someplace and the car wouldn't start, but she'd come back and the car would start. And so one day I get the phone call because the wife and her are out, and there was an accident, and they were detoured through the neighborhood, and of course, the car cut out, so they coasted off to the side. And she said the car won't start. I have a guy, my wife told me, I got a guy trying to jump start it. The car won't start. I don't know. I said, "All right, well, I'll head out that way, So of course I get there, the car starts.
You fixed it.
And I was like, "Man,
He
this
was
doesn't make sense."
terrified.
And I was like, well, I started looking. Well, it had a main fuse on the battery cable, and the solder somebody put solder on it. It was a blown fuse, and they laid solder in there. So when it heated up, the solder would separate, car would cut out, and then when it cooled down, the solder would
connect
stick back
again.
together.
This is
But it had
cycle.
done so many. The only reason why I noticed it was because the color. And so I ended up taking a it was a back probe kit because I was in the tool truck. Took a back probe kit, snipped the end of the metal, so it was like taking a part of a paper clip, and I laid it in the solder, just kind of put. And then I ended up ordering a new fuse. We ended up getting a new fuse for it.
All right,
One of
so
my
Go on,
mechanics
Bob.
told me that if you have problems with sometimes with fuses and that, pull them out because they get corrosion on them.
Oh, yep.
And the act of pulling them out and shoving them back in, they'll work.
all right, so I have a fuse story too. Last Sunday, I go to the station, and the girl Kim, who does the show after me, she says, "Oh, can you take a look at my car? I got a problem." I'm like, well, what's the matter? So it's funny because I've been on her back about setting her parking brake, and she always forget. One week, this is just a side story. I walked into the studio, and she saw me. She's like, "Oh shit!" And she ran in the office, grabbed the keys, and ran past me and ran out to set her parking brake. And came back in. I said, "That's all right. You'll remember, Kim." I said, "It'll take a little while, but you'll remember, and then you'll think of me whenever you do it." So now she has been setting the brake. But she said she had an issue. She has it's a 2019 Subaru Crosstrek, and she had gotten an email telling her she was due for a service update. I said, "Okay." She goes, "Well, they had me do the update. They had me download it." And what? I said, "They had you do your own update?" And apparently, since the car is now hooked up to the internet, you just go in and there's a tab where you can tell it update, and it did. But she said there was some sort of an issue, a little bit of a problem, and then now, after the fact, everything works, but her radio screen is blank. It's black. I'm like, "Oh shit!" I said, "Well, something's obviously wrong." She goes, "Yeah," and I looked into it. I read some stuff online, and they said that if you there was a fuse you could pull and reset, and then there was something with the radio with the buttons and whatever. I said, whoa. I said, "You got to know what you need to do in what order you need to do it." I said, "I'm not Kreskin. I can't. I don't know." So she said, "Well," I said, "Do you know what fuse it was?" She goes, "No, they didn't say. Maybe it might have been the radio fuse." I said, "All right, let's go take a look." So the fuse panel in the car is on the left side. And of course, the dash kind of is on an angle down. So you got to look up. You got to kneel on the ground and look up. And the fuse panel, the way it's set up, if it was the top right fuse, and those were the mini fuses, I couldn't even get my damn hand in there. I said, "Well, there's got to be a tool. There's a fuse pulling tool for this." And there was nothing in the car. So I said, "Wait a minute." I went under the hood, and in the fuse box under the hood, they supplied the tool. I said, "Okay, so we got the tweezers now." So between the two of us, she's got tiny hands. We were able to get it on the fuse, pull it out, look at it. The fuse was good. I said, "Now, I don't know. They want you to activate the car, do other things. I don't know what they want you to do." I said, "Look, we'll pull a fuse and cycle it and put it back in, see what happens." Of course, that didn't fix it. So I said, "You gotta get some more information." So I started looking online myself and found all sorts of references to black radio screens and all sorts of different things, but I didn't see anything about that happening after an update. So remains yet to be solved.
Hey guys, I'm gonna jump ship, but before I jump ship, I talked to Cammie Edelbrock a couple days ago, and she has, I think, four or five of her dad's cars left out of the 250, 300 that he had.
Wow.
That they're going to sell at an auction. So she's going to come on the show maybe next week if she can schedule us in.
And you're going to buy three of them, right?
Oh man!
Which one you gonna buy?
The Corvette. I think it's what is this? 60. What's the split?
63.
63.
Oh man, he has some stuff, man. He has over 200 cars.
Yeah.
Yep. So hopefully we can get her on next week if she's free.
Oh, cool.
Talk about his cars and talk about the old school Edelbrock, the real deal Edelbrock stuff.
Yeah, because she took over, so she knows the deal.
Yeah, she knows the history of it. Yep. All right, guys, have a good week and stay safe.
Like
And
the
I'll let you
Camaro.
know. I'll let you know where I'm at next week.
Okay, you closing us out?
Okay.
Oh yeah, so everybody in the
Okay.
chat. Yeah, everybody in the chat room. Wait a minute, hold on. I gotta do my thing right here. Okay, everybody in the chat room, I'd like to thank you for coming and hanging out with us at Playing in Traffic. We do this every Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern time. So tell everybody, come hang out with us. We answer questions, we tell lies, we do it all. Come check us out. All right, peace.